Well, good morning and welcome. We have a minute or two before we get going. I'm Dr. Rob Nelson, and I'm joined by my colleague Erik, and we are going to talk about intelligent automation, about transforming operations in healthcare. I know that's important to some of you maybe, but I first want to know who came the furthest to HIMSS on this good HIMSS morning. Who's the furthest from home? Anybody? Where are you from? Montreal. Is he beat by anybody? Anyone else? So there's another quiz for you. Are any of you deploying using RPA every day? Are any of you using RPA plus AI, NLP every day? Any of you raise a digital army yet? A digital workforce? Anyone? More than 2. Maybe 200.
A small battalion.
All right, well, we'll get going. We're excited to be here with you today. We don't have a lot of time, but we just want to walk through some pretty exciting stuff on technology that's well proven and very effective. So a real quick introduction, we're partners in crime. By the way, he doesn't look like his photo because where did he go? He lost his voice this morning. He's in the back, he lost his voice, so Erik is stepping in as my partner in crime here.
I am not the real Alan Hester.
Alan Hester's in the back, voiceless with the camera.
Norman president.
First, let's just a quick introduction. 2 of us together, a services partner at a technology company. I'll let Erik tell you about the technology part, and I'll tell you about the services part.
Yeah, so welcome everyone to Orlando and to the technology part. It's really great to see so many people here today and some familiar faces. So we are what is called an intelligent automation platform. The names change frequently. What does that mean? That means we combine a suite of tools that allow for end-to-end business process automation out of the box with no other integrations, and we do this through a very robust orchestration engine, RPA, as many of you we just talked about, and then also our own AI ML layer. And so what that offers is simply a complete end-to-end business process automation out of the box, and we can go deeper into some of the technology, but sort of the 30,000-foot view is that.
Awesome. And so we at RCG Global Services, we're a digital transformation company. We're nationwide, and we have a lot of engineering capabilities. We transform companies' technology solutions to get business outcomes day in and day out. Some of my colleagues in the audience are here with me. We're very excited to be joined up. We do a lot of stuff from strategy to business IT process automation to everything in between. We are very much agnostic when it comes to technology, but we know good technology when we see it and we bring it to our clients. We're nationwide with overseas development centers in India in 2 locations as well as in Manila. So we're really now going to talk about why is this important? Why this automation discussion now? If you look at all the Gartner charts, you know, automation is always up there as a priority, but really it's about the business outcomes. And how I think about it is we've got so many processes, manual processes that are chewing out vital resources. We have so many things that need to connect with each other that don't do it well. We've got revenue cycles that are leaky and broken and causing cash flow problems. We've got IT processes that are broken. And so we also have a labor shortage. And so the ability to put in a bunch of bots collectively that form basically a 24/7 employee is a pretty nice thing to be able to do. And so one of the things we also see is the data explosion and ability to deal with that. So, Erik, what are some of the things you're seeing at some of the clients we've been working with as far as challenges?
Well, the one that you mentioned is the labor shortage, is at least up in the Northeast, is one of the major issues that we're dealing with. So it's just really lack of qualified people. A lot of the processes that we're dealing with are very susceptible to errors. So really it's about the time to value. I mean, I think automation speaks for itself. It's not rocket science. If you do take something that was manually done before and you automate it, you're going to see a huge jump in productivity, efficiency. But also, this is work that your employees don't want to be doing. So when we talk to business users all the time, they're not worried about their job being replaced. They're looking at this as a huge asset and an ally for them because they don't want to be doing this mundane, rote, repetitive work. So I would say that the labor shortage, certainly the amount of data, the data explosion, both on the structured and particularly the unstructured side, has become an enormous challenge for almost every company to deal with. So yeah, those are just a couple of the highlights. But
it reminds me of our joint customer who has a manual process of processing payment transactions for insurance using a credit card to third-party software without the insurer knowing, as a service that they're getting paid for. And they were putting up a team in India of 20, 30, 40, ramping up that team, and they couldn't get the people to do it. There was risk in the process of failure, and we replaced that with a series of digital workers so that what was taking each person 20 minutes a day was like 30 seconds. And all of that risk, security risk around the financial transaction, was eliminated, basically. So let's talk about this crazy technology that's well proven. Every time I get asked for, we want to see a POC, we want to see proof of technology. Why? It's here, it's ready, it's highly capable, and it's really all about finding the right use cases. But why is this so special, Erik, what you're doing with these three components?
Well, most people think of intelligent automation, they're really thinking about RPA, right? But RPA, as Rob said, is sort of table stakes for us. Those are the bots that are actually doing the work, but it's really the combination of these tools. I like to tell people what we do. We come into an organization and we automate anything that can be automated, right? Can is the optimal word because most of the time humans are in the loop. But more importantly, we orchestrate that work extremely efficiently between the bots and the AI. So for us, it's really the ability to solve problems quickly. I talk about time to value a lot with prospects and customers because at the end of the day, if you're looking to solve problems, how can we clear the path to get a bot into production and start delivering value? So I think we're one of the few tools in the world that really allows for this end-to-end business process automation. We cut our teeth in the business process automation world. Our founders were early on in a enterprise-grade BPM engine called Savion. So they've been in this space for 25 plus years. So, for us, we've been doing this for a long time. So I think the way we've packaged our technology is certainly unique. But then also the people too. Quite frankly, I sell our people a lot because I know this isn't as easy as people make it seem, drag and drop, low code, no code. We deal with a lot of complexities and nuances, etc. So the quality of the team that you're working with is also very important as well. So those are some of the reasons I think that we're unique and special. But certainly as far as the technology goes, we're really tackling it from the beginning all the way through the end, whether humans are in the loop or not.
And I'd add to that because there are a number of players out there, some big ones you've probably seen and heard of, and they're great. But what we often experience with clients is, well, I want to take care of this process. Well, that's going to need this software package plus this software package and some custom thing in the middle. This is not necessary. And I'll give you the example that I just gave you. The digital worker is working on computer screens. That's pretty straightforward. But then there was a use case where the person was calling a live person. And so we had to train the bot to speak using NLP, and it actually works. So that they actually have the user interface with using AI. So it's the ability to do all those things without adding any new platform or technology, makes it very flexible. And then you've got the business process management piece that you deploy when there's a more complex process. And by the way, you still may have a person for exception handling, for certain kind of tasks that you don't want to give the bot and so forth. So I think about those many benefits. I mentioned a couple to you, which was, hey, we have credit card exposure because there's a person that's maybe we just hired on a team of 40 people that we don't know using credit cards between places and the risks that come with that. That's made so fast with a digital worker that actually we have to sometimes slow down the digital worker because the systems can't handle the speed of the worker. It's a pretty fun thing to see. So demos are really boring because they move really super lightning fast. The other piece I mentioned, the fraud prevention, and then there's just the ability to enable experience with having really smooth processes and letting your people work on the things that are most important at the higher value contribution.
Yeah, and the process part is so huge just because everyone wants to talk about automation and AI, right? But if you have a broken process, you're just going to automate a bad process. So the process work is really important. That's why we work with great partners like RCG Global, make our life easier because they understand where the gaps are and where the technology can be deployed.
Now, one alternative is if you have swivel chair processes. You've got old legacy systems that need to transfer data from one to the other. we don't have to solve that with a heavy integration. We don't have to invest a bunch in it. We can use a digital worker to do that process. And the digital worker can still do a clunky, awful process if you don't feel like re-engineering it. It can still do the process the person does. So you can get it moving more quickly. And as you have time and you want to re-engineer processes, that's also possible. So some of the things that we really see, lower costs definitely should be a benefit. When you can do these volume transactions in a lot faster and with less people, that's going to be at scale. You get a real cost reduction. The other piece is the ability to drive, omni-channel experiences with a bot in the process, helping drive the experience. Compliance obviously is another area where there's a great opportunity. And I think when you try to provide more accessibility to healthcare and to data, this is another way that you can leverage digital workers to help make that happen. Anything else you can think of?
Gosh, I mean, there's so many benefits. We could probably spend, 20 minutes just on benefits. I think many of them are obvious, but certainly it's all about, it's all about patient care. So at the end of the day, what we're trying to deliver is better care to patients. And so the technology is a means for us getting there, but I'd say, certainly the bottom line, capturing that money back in the revenue cycle is, huge for any business. But I think at the end of the day, it's really, delivering better patient outcomes.
Yeah, and we're focusing a lot on business processes, not clinical, just because that seems to be safer for a lot of people to feel more comfortable with. But it is about focusing on the value. And so one of the things that's really exciting is, people ask me, well, give me some good use cases. And I go, where do you want me to stop? How many broken, manual, ugly processes that are chewing up vital resources in healthcare do we have? We have way too many. So there are many. Just think about the repeatability of it, and could a person potentially do it? Could an API be involved? Possibly that's something we can look at. So when we look at value, these are the obvious things. People that are just getting started need to find the value and deliver it quickly to get some kind of momentum around the solution. In the case that I gave, it was almost a no-brainer. We got so much value so quickly, it was like, how can we do more and faster? And so that's just by laying that out and selecting the right things. So as that quote is from one of our clients, it's a slam dunk. We needed to do this. By the way, that client was very proud of their digital capability, but there they were doing all this manual work. And that was another reason why they wanted to do it, to demonstrate their true digital chops. So when we look at identifying processes, it's easy to have many opportunities to think about, get inundated, but you got to start somewhere, start small. What's your experience with that?
Yeah, so people, again, this is a huge initiative for so many companies right now. So when I talk to people, they clearly understand the value, and they say, wow, we want to automate all these things, but they don't know where to start, right? So that's where we implement our process of where we are trying to find the right starting point for automation. So one of the things, and again, I know other providers will, there'll be a number of licenses or bots that are required. Our modus operandi is really to get a bot into production, delivering value as quickly as possible. And so what we do is we really conduct these sessions with our partners, where we go in and we basically aggregate all the eligible opportunities for automation, right? But then we prioritize those automations in terms of impact to the organization and complexity of implementation. So what we're looking for is high value, low complexity. Because what happens is in order to have success with this, right, it's really important to establish the infrastructure, establish your KPIs, really develop that team. And once that first process is really burned in, delivering value, then we go back to the roadmap and scale. So for us, it has been an implementation process that's been very, very successful. I think every one of you can Google RPA fails or intelligent automation fails. It's because companies are trying to do too much too quickly. Sometimes the processes are broken, sometimes they're overlapping. So we really rifle shot into that starting point. So for us, it's really been a recipe for success. And, so I think that.
When I think of, one of the specialty care clients started with one process and revenue cycle that was easy to tackle. And in not too long a time, they went to 200. And now they've fully automated using digital workers the entire RCM. And that was to avoid going outside and paying transactional fees to a services company, right? So very scalable, very cost efficient.
Yeah, well, this is just the use case you mentioned with our most recent customer. They're up to their 9th or 10th bot already. We started with one. So it scales very quickly, but it's really that first one that's really, really important. And again, a lot of it revolves around the infrastructure, the security, et cetera, et cetera. Most of our deployments are on a customer's infrastructure, particularly in healthcare, because there's a lot of private health information. But nonetheless, it's still a very, important consideration.
And another area that's very exciting is the data management piece and accompanying digital workflows and the workforce with RPA and robotic process automation around that data management issue, which is another exciting use case. Any comments about that?
It's, I would say we are getting so much in terms of the validation, the classification. So, again, IDP for us is a huge opportunity. I'm sure.
Intelligent document processing.
Oh, yeah, sorry,
IDP.
I'll refrain from acronyms. Intelligent document processing is huge area of opportunity for us. We do it quite well. Again, it's a solution that's built into the platform, but we see it again around a lot of this unstructured data.
And of course, analytics on top of that. So just a flyby, just to show you a couple of cases very quickly. The at scale, the number of man hours that could be saved, the accuracy that can be achieved like at 100%, thousands and thousands of hours, the payment cycle really being improved on a revenue cycle case, data extraction, the reduction in manual work. These are very typical kinds of numbers in the 70s, 80s, 90s to 100 in terms of accomplishment of improvement, which is very impressive. Any comments about some of these stories?
Yeah, I mean, when you start to look at the benefits, they just, again, when your client said it's a slam dunk, sometimes I'm just incredulous when people don't want to move forward with it because the ROI on it is so compelling. And that's the other thing to consider with this technology right now. It's very ROI driven. So, we go into this, we're talking about, hey, what is your ROI over the next 12 months, 24 months, 36 months? I have yet to see a use case where a customer didn't get paid back within 12 months, which I think for enterprise software is really, really strong. So for us, it's, that's what I'm seeing.
And it can be fast, right? We're talking about an operational bot or digital worker in 4 to 6 weeks, potentially.
Yeah, which is pretty similar to hiring somebody. If you look at the average time to hire is about 4 weeks. So we can have a bot into production. And again, the bots work in 24/7.
Is that the hardest part, giving the bot a name and a identity number?
Yeah, some people
and HR benefits. They don't take vacation.
Yeah, no, they don't take smoke breaks or vape breaks. So I mean, like I said,
they don't complain generally.
I watched this. I was watching TV the other night, and they were showing these. They were showing like a hot dog maker or something like that on this machine. And I was just thinking about how we've been through this so many times in our society for hundreds of years of automating things. So again, I think the value of what we do is clear. It's just really having that business case, really kind of clearing the path, and finding that right starting point, especially. Again, it becomes pretty clear to us when we go through these discovery sessions. There's usually 1 or 2 processes. Again, he touched on some, what we call low-hanging fruit, but I've been doing this a while, so every day I'm presented with new and unique opportunities. So it really comes down to where's that manual work being done? Where are systems not talking to each other? Where is there a presence of spreadsheets where there's a lot of work going into that and referencing? So, again, it can take some time to break down and really kind of dig to find out, where the ROI is, to start with. But it's, it's a process we do gratis on top of it. So we go through this process with our customers. And again, has there been times when I've gone back to someone and said, listen, it just doesn't make sense for you to automate, at least not invest in our technology to automate it. The volume of transactions is just not there. The ROI is not there. But in the vast majority of cases of people coming to us, it's a very...
It's either a volume play or it's a bunch of tiny cuts across a person's job that could be automated. So the steps we recommend, figure out a scope for your initiative. Where do you want to start? Find a really good partner to work with to help you kind of navigate that stuff, get it done quickly. Find the right technology partner. Just get going. We used to talk a lot about setting up a COE for automation and getting everybody together and having a big strategy. You know what? Pick something and get moving and start producing value. That's going to have a much better impact on you, and it's going to drive the momentum. There are many failed examples of programs over licenses that aren't used. There's $700,000 in unused licenses and stuff. You don't want to get into that. So we recommend a quick path. And then even to that point, what we've been doing lately is just going, let's find the example. Let's find the one that's going to prove it in your organization and get the value, and let's do a quick bot build. And that can be a proof of concept if you want to in terms of value. But generally, it's just making one happen quickly and getting moving. So our contact information is here. Hopefully this was helpful. We're happy to talk about the details, the processes. I can tell you, having been in performance transformation in healthcare a long time, this is real, it's exciting, it seems table stakes, but I'm just surprised we're not doing more of it. So thank you for joining us today. I hope you have a wonderful...
Yeah, thank you everybody. I really appreciate it. And we're at booth 5845. I think I got that right. So come see us. We'll do a demo. Yeah, it's great to see everybody. Have a great week.
Enjoy.